Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivadipacharya Ashtotra Shatashi Shamadas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All right, thank you. Problem. Problem. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
I'm kind of overheated. I can't really tell what the temperature is. Can we just turn the fans off and open the doors?
Okay, so this morning we were reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 18, Prithu Maharaj milks the Earth Planet, Text 5. Tan anadrityo vidvan Artan arabate swayam Tasya vyabicharantyartha Arabdascha punaha Tan anadrityo vidvan Artan arabate swayam Tasya vyabicharantyartha Arabdyascha punaha. Please chant. Chant. Word by word translation. Tan, those. Nadritya, neglecting. Yaha, anyone who. Avidvan, rascal. Artan, schemes. Arabate, begins. Swayam, personally. Tasya, his. Abhicharanti, do not become successful. Artaha, purposes. Arabdaha, attempted. Cha, and. Puna punaha, again. And again. Translation. A foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. Purport. At the present moment, it has become fashionable to disobey the unimpeachable directions given by the acharyas and liberated souls of the past. Presently, people are so fallen that they cannot distinguish between a liberated soul and a conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is hampered by 4 defects. He is sure to commit mistakes. He is sure to become illusioned. He has a tendency to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. Consequently, we have to take direction from liberated persons. This Krishna consciousness movement directly receives instructions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead via persons who are strictly following his instructions. Although a follower may not be a liberated person, if he follows the Supreme Liberated Personality of Godhead, his actions are naturally liberated from the contamination of the material nature. Lord Chaitanya therefore says, "By my order you become a spiritual master." One can immediately become a spiritual master by having full faith in the transcendental words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by following his instructions. Materialistic men are not interested in taking directions from a liberated person, but they are very much interested in their own concocted ideas, which make them repeatedly fail in their attempts. Because the entire world is now following the imperfect directions of conditioned souls, humanity is completely bewildered. Om Gyanit Timidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanameditam Vena Tusmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitvachalam Pangam Nangayati Girim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Diditaranam Vanchakaputribhishta Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gauda Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation again. A foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. So, authority. A lot of the times people hear the word authority and they don't really like it very much. Like authority, oh, you have to follow your authority. Some devotees use that quite often. They say, hey Prabhu, you got to follow your authority, you know. You have to follow your temple president, you have to follow your whatever GBC, you have to follow your temple commander. There's all these authoritative positions in which sometimes they say, hey, you got to follow your authority. So sometimes people don't like that because it means that somebody's could possibly, you could say, create problems for the individual. Because in other words, it's a faith issue. Because if you have faith in somebody, you don't have a problem following them. It's like, okay, this person knows what they're doing, this person's intelligent, this person's qualified, etc., and I don't have a problem following them because they're qualified. So it's a bit of a faith problem, and people have problem having faith in people because maybe they've been cheated so many times, or at least they've seen others cheated or heard of others cheated within whatever it may be, so many circles, there's so much cheating going on. So you could say in some ways it's intelligent to think like that, to say, okay, doubt, you could say, is a form of intelligence, because from doubts come questions, but at a particular point it just becomes foolishness, because if somebody is not bright enough, you could say, or if somebody doesn't have enough intelligence or enough wit to realize that we do need a guidance, everybody needs guidance, and there are many people who are qualified to give us guidance. And even if we don't have supreme faith in someone being super qualified, we could at least have enough humility to think, okay, well, they're a little bit more qualified than me. So therefore there's this idea of authority. And authority doesn't necessarily mean that the person has to be perfect. And in many cases, they're not perfect. To expect perfection in this world is, in so many ways, what is it called? Fool's errand? Yeah, fool's errand. And also, what do they call that? Not realistic, unrealistic, right? Yeah. A dream only. So, I was thinking of another word, but it's not really coming to my mind. Huh? Contrived illusion. It's just, what was that? Skyflower, yeah. We get the idea. There's so many, it's not really going to work so well to expect perfection. And the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Srila Prabhupada translated into Nectar Devotion, it says that even one who has developed a very high level of, relatively speaking and practically speaking, a very high level of Krishna consciousness means they've developed love for Krishna to at least some degree, the bhava stage, right? There's sadhana bhakti, it's the rules and regulations, and not so much love for Krishna is there. And then bhava bhakti is the preliminary stage of love of Godhead, and then there's prema bhakti, which is the highest stage, and there's different various stages of prema bhakti. But bhava bhakti, the preliminary stage of love of Godhead, says that even those personalities still may have material contamination in the heart, and yeah, in many ways they do. It's stated there. There may be, they call them anartas, means unwanted things in the heart. So So in other words, just because somebody may display some imperfection doesn't mean they can't guide one. And over time, devotees, if they practice Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously and in the proper way, they will appreciate this point more and more and more. And the reason being is because they will realize more and more and more and more that I'm not perfect. And by the laws of material nature, no one, what's that Prabhupada quotes? Time and tide wait for no one. He says no man, but no one. Time and tide wait for no one. So time is not waiting for anybody. I mean, the clock is moving. You can't stop it. Same with the tide. You can't stop it. So, as time has it, devotees, younger devotees, by nature, will have to take on roles of responsibility, whether it be GBC, sannyasi, temple president, sankirtan leader, whatever it may be, in charge of their family or something. They'll have to take on roles of responsibility, and which practically means authority. So they'll appreciate this point more and more and more, because they'll realize that, hey, I'm not perfect, and I was giving so much flack to all the personalities who I was expecting to be perfect, but now I have some personalities that I'm guiding, and now they're giving me flack because I'm not perfect. Now, of course, this isn't a like Prabhupada says in the verse to the Bhagavad Gita, apichet sarirachayo bhajate mam ananya bhak. He says that sareva samantavya. So what's the last one? Yeah. So it says that even if one is engaged in the most abominable activity, if they're fixed in their determination, they're considered to be saintly. So in other words, one may commit mistakes. But of course, Prabhupada says that we shouldn't just use this as an excuse to be committing mistakes and mistakes. We should try to rectify ourselves more and more and more. Correct ourselves, rectify ourselves. So we shouldn't use this as, oh, hey, great, you know, I'm authority, and I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to try. And great, that means that in the future, let's say I'm not in some authoritative position right now, that means in the future when I am in an authoritative position, then I don't have to be perfect. So that's great, you know, wonderful, good news. I could kind of not try as hard as I should. So yeah, it shouldn't be used like that. But the idea is just to give ourselves a little, we all should give ourselves a little grace, you know, a little mercy, like not expect too much. But still, we should encourage each other to do the best we can. But authority, in Krishna consciousness, it means that the purity is the force. That's what. I don't think Prabhupada said it, right? Prabhupada didn't say these things. Purity is the force, and yeah, it was said to him, and he agreed with it. Yeah. So purity is the force. What's the other ones? Books the basis. Utilities the principle. Preaching's the essence. Yeah, that's 4, right? Yeah. So purity is the force. So behind Srila Prabhupada's authority is his purity, and that's all the acharyas are like that. Why? Because there's so many learned persons out there. I mean, you go to USD. I'm sure there's so many learned professors in the academic sense. They know Bhagavad Gita, at least theoretically. They could quote the shlokas. They could recite the verses. But where's the purity? And the purity means purity of heart, purity of intention, not engaging in immoral activities or sinful activities against the laws of nature, against the laws of God. They may be having issues with that. In many cases they are. And Yeah, so where's the purity? So purity is the force. That's what is meant, and that is what is driving the Sankirtan movement, Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. People are impressed by devotees' purity, whatever that purity they may have. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives a very clear indication in his Shikshashtaka. What is this purity? He says, na danam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kame mama janmani janmani ishvare bhavatad bhakti hoiti ki toi. So he says that, as Srivida Prabhu's poetic rendition, it's easier sometimes to say the poetic rendition. English? Anyways. You won't stop me? Okay, good. I'm the only person who could stop myself. Wealth, women, followers, the fruits of mundane piety, liberation from this world of limitless anxiety. To me, O Lord, these common goals have not the slightest worth. Please let me serve you purely now and in each future birth. So, there's nothing wrong with women. There's nothing wrong with wealth. There's nothing wrong with followers. But if somebody is hunting after those things in an exploitative way, whether they be Bhakta George or Swami this or whatever, Swami Ananda, Bhogi Ananda Maharaj, Mayananda, then it's a problem, because it's it's just wrong. It's just they're doing it for the wrong reasons. That's the thing. They're doing it for the wrong reasons. So if somebody's like, there's so many gurus. I mean, India is like, it's like they have a factory where they produce gods. It says on every street corner, a man says, "Oh, I'm God," and people accept him. Like Prabhupada, there's that story of the boy who was claiming to be God, and then came to America and he got a big following, and then he became attracted to his American secretary, female secretary. So he was Swami and all that. So just whatever, he married her. They got together. So then, which was against the laws of sannyas, but so then his mother heard about it in India, and his mother was furious. Said that she was saying, "Oh, how could she was accepting him as God as well, and now he got together this female American secretary." So then apparently the mother she made a declaration. She said he's not God anymore, and it was in the Indian newspapers. Said he's not God anymore, but my other son, he's God. That's what she said, and people accepted. People. So there's a God factory. There's a guru factory also. There's a guru factory. So yeah, people have to be careful, because in so many ways they're not qualified. Why? Because they're after all these things, all these material things, and they're using spirituality for it. That's the problem. If you're after all those things, just go out and get all those things. Right? There's plenty of women, there's plenty of money, there's plenty of followers, I guess. I mean, maybe people have a hard time getting followers, but there's plenty of opportunities. But, to use spiritual life for that, to use Krishna consciousness for that, that is really bad. So that's what it means, purity, to not want those common goals that ordinary materialistic persons wants, and persons using spiritual life for those want, but just want service, Krishna service. So it says birth after birth. So want pure devotional service. So of course it is Kali Yuga, and it's not exactly easy to be pure. There's the whole world, the whole ethos, everything is resting on impure principles. and confusion and bewilderment. So it's not so easy. But we are still supposed to try for that purity, because that is the force. And for those who, not for those who have accepted a guru, but those who will accept a spiritual master, a guru, there's certain qualifications. It's not just anybody become a guru. There has to be qualifications. And one of those qualifications is, again, that we have to be careful. Is this person, sorry to say, but is this person just hunting for disciples? Means, is he really quick to initiate me, knowing well that I might not be qualified? And is this person actually qualified? So in other words, the idea of just, getting disciples really quick, it could be a prestige thing that, okay, I'm just gathering a bunch of disciples. So that has to be thought about, because there are many persons throughout the world that will initiate you. They'll go to you, you'll go to them, and they'll initiate you right there in a moment. But by mail, by so many things. But they don't really know you. You don't really know them. There may not be so many serious vows involved. And again, it's hard to. I mean, it's not hard, and many times it's very clear, but it's questionable someone's motive if they're so quick, to enter a relationship. Just like, it's a lifelong relationship, life after life. It's a contract to go back to Godhead, and it's a serious thing. So just like marriage, it's not like you just meet somebody and okay, we're going to marry tomorrow, right? Are we ready? Let's go out to Las Vegas and we're going to marry tomorrow. It's cheap, that's the problem. So you have to be careful for those who aren't initiated. And the qualifications of a guru are stated in the Nectar of Instruction, because we're talking about authority here, the liberated persons. Vacho vegam, manaso kroda vegam, jiva vegam, adara pasta vegam, etan vegam, yovishaheta dira sarvam, itimam pativim shashishat. So they have to have self-control. There's urges of the senses, and the spiritual master controls those, or transcends those. And they're the tongue, right? Tendency to talk and taste so many things, and this and that, and eyes, and Vacho vegam manaso, the mind, anger, the senses, like that. And it says one who can control these, Vacho vegam manaso kroda vegam jiva, they can make disciples all over the world. So in other words, they have to be controlled, and if they're not controlled, if somebody's if they're not controlled, that means one is still influenced quite heavily from the material energy. And if one is influenced from the material too heavily by the material energy, it's very difficult for them to help anybody, because there's still a lot of selfishness going on, and because they can't control their senses, the tendency to cheat may arise within them. That, am I really trying to help my followers? Am I really trying to help my disciples? Or am I just trying to, for my own aggrandizement, for my own this, for my own that? So therefore, Rupa Goswami says we have to, the spiritual master has to control their senses. But also the disciples also have to control their senses. So it's not just the guru. It's not like Guru Maharaj, he controls his senses, and the disciples, they don't. Because really, as it's stated here, Lord Chaitanya, he says that by my order you become a spiritual master. So he's advising everybody to become a spiritual master. So he's advising everybody to control their senses. And to cast away this cheating propensity. So it's here stated that liberated persons, they act they act in such a way as that they're above the mistakes. So the four defects, which is to make mistakes, to become illusioned, to cheat others, and the senses are imperfect. So in relation to cheating others, people cheat others because they want something from them. And whatever it may be, they whatever that thing they want. That's why people cheat. So if we want to be spiritual masters, which Lord Chaitanya says we should really try, and we should really do, not just try, but we should do. We should not be in the mood of cheating others, because that is against the principle. And yeah, we should follow the ideas of the liberated souls. Mahajena yena gatasa panta. So there's a path, panta. So there's a nice path chalked out. And if we get off the path, then there's a lot of problems. That's the issue. Like, I'm sorry to say, but myself and Mukundacharan and Damodar Kumar and Vraj Mohan and Jamal and Glenn, we were walking at Torrey Pines some time ago. You were there, right? Vraj Mohan? Wasn't he there? Oh, he wasn't there? Oh, really? Okay. So what happened is Mukunda had his nice hat on, this, sun, keep the sun away, a straw hat. So then we're over a cliff, and we're looking out, and then Mukunda's hat fell. And it was like, I don't know, 20, 30 feet down, something like that. So they said, okay, what are we going to do? So then we went off the path. So we went up the path, and we went down there, got his hat. So then, I don't know why, but I'm never going to do that again, but we said, oh, well, we're already here. Might as well just go off the path down to the ocean. And that's exactly what we did. There was no path. So we were just like going through all these bushes and plants and this and that, and he got all scraped up, and so eventually made it to the ocean. But one guy he was really mad at us. He was standing up on the cliff. He said, "Hey, you guys can't go off the path," and that's a big fight. Anyways. So that was the case. Yeah, we went off the path, and I mean it wasn't too bad, but it was a little painful, So, but in relation to the spiritual path, yeah, definitely. If we go off, it's just nothing but chaos, nothing but confusion, nothing but bewilderment, which means that really we don't get anything we want. Means we don't get any, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. What's that? Nasidhim Swarutsavitsija Vardhane Kamakarataha. Yeah, so no happiness, no supreme goal. What's the other one? No perfection. So no perfection, no supreme goal, no happiness. If one goes off the path. So, of course, to develop faith in Krishna consciousness, I mean, we have to have some preliminary faith, because if we don't have faith, we'll say, well, I could get plenty of happiness off the path of Krishna consciousness. I could get plenty of perfection, plenty of, supreme goal, whatever that may be. But at least for those of us who have faith, and hopefully we all do, and hopefully increases more and more and more, we should come to that point, which is a very important point, that off the path of Krishna consciousness, there's nothing really available that will really satisfy me. And if we have that much faith, it's actually very good. It's a very good position to work from, because that could propel us forward. If we're kind of like on the path, but we're thinking, we look over and, oh, maybe there's something over there, and maybe there's something over here, and maybe there's something over here, and unfortunately, in many cases, just a matter of time where that something or that something or that something just drags us away, and we may be gone for many years, like a Jamal. You know how long a Jamal was gone off the path? Yeah, he left when he was like, I don't know. It doesn't really say his age. But he left when he probably left when he was 20 or something, right? For 60 years, he just he saw an attractive woman and a man, and they're embracing, and then he just, got all these interesting ideas, and then, went off and went for that woman who was completely materialistic and mundane, and he just engaged in all type of immoral activities to support his family, and completely gone from Krishna consciousness, like spiritual life just went down the drain. And for 50 years he was gone. So, and that was just, it's amazing actually. That was like you saw one couple do it in Britain, and he was just gone. So his material desires really, got the best of him. So the point is, we don't want that to happen to us. So therefore, these are cautionary tales or cautionary historical accounts that are supposed to warn us that, hey, I got to be careful here. This happened to Jamil, that happened to Sarbara Muni. You know what happened to Sarbara Muni? Sarbara Muni? Does anyone remember? He was meditating under the water, Yamuna, holy water, and somehow or other he was doing that. It's a mystic power, right? Like thousands of years he was meditating in the water. And then he opens his eyes. Also, it's kind of difficult to open your eyes underwater, but anyways, he opened his eyes and he saw two fish copulating. So then, like within his mind, he lost it. So and he just sprung out of the water and got onto the bank of the river, and you can imagine what he looked like. Under the water for so long, how you get the wrinkly and kind of. So he went to go find a woman or women, and they saw him and they were just spooked. Like, who's this? I don't want anything to do with him. So then, by his mystic power, he made himself look youthful. Then he married, I think, like 100 women, and forgot his spiritual practices and engaged in his material desires, and then eventually came back, but to his spiritual practice. But for many years he was gone, and one of the reasons why, or the main reason why, it says that he had that issue, was because he offended Garuda. Right? Garuda. And what did he do to Garuda? Anybody remember? He would die. So Garuda, who's like a transcendental bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, in his own kind of tattva, you could say, but he's a devotee, and because he's bird carrier, he has fish. That's what he eats. So he would go to that local place where Sarbara Muni was, and you would have his lunch or whatever, and that Muni said that, if you come back here, because he was trying to protect the fish, if you come back here, then I'm going to curse you to die. So it was like, get out of here, you're banished, I'm going to curse you to die. So because of that offense to a pure devotee Garuda, he had to, those material desires awaken within him. So, and there's so many cases like that. So whether it's Sarbara Muni or Jama, so these are cautionary historical accounts that are meant to inspire us to be careful, Vyavasayatmaka buddhir ekeha kudanandana bahu shaka irantascha buddhyo vivasayanam. So those who are on this path of Krishna consciousness, they're resolute in their determination that their aim is one, and they're just going down the path. Like they're not looking here, they're not looking, they're just going. And those who are not, don't have that. It says their intelligence is many branched. It's taken to many places. So Prabhupada took great satisfaction and great encouragement in this particular verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 241, I believe it is, reading Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. And it said something to the degree that whether I go to hell or go to heaven, this happens, that happens, I'm just going to execute the order of my spiritual master. So that determination, that's what Prabhupada, he really took a lot of encouragement from that. So, So yeah, if outside of the path, as it says here, the entire world is now found in perfect directions of conditioned souls. So myself speaking, I mean, I don't want to follow anybody within this world unless they're a devotee, and a good devotee. Why? Because they're just in perfect conditioned souls, and what do they really have to offer? I don't have much faith in them. I don't have any faith in them, to be quite honest. But people do, and therefore humanity is bewildered. So outside of the path of Krishna consciousness is just pure bewilderment. So it's good if we somehow or other analyze that, realize that, have more faith in that. And in this way we become more convinced of Krishna consciousness, and we ourselves could become gurus in our own ways, not in the own authorized ways, but and try to help people, guide people. So, does anybody have any questions or comments?
I'll ask one. Just as a sidelight, you were talking about the boy god who ran off with his secretary.
Yeah.
But you know, he was a celibate. This is the storyline until he married her.
Okay.
And you know what? That was a big deal. He was, renouncing. But you know what one of his miracles was? After he married her, 5 months later, she had a baby. It's a miracle. Just shows you how blind faith works.
God's mercy.
Yeah. My question is this. You're saying about going off the path and, that we get lost, and you gave the story, the dangers and risk, and therefore we just fix our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is typical blind faith, paranoia. Instill them with fear and instill them with paranoia, and you just don't look left, don't look right. Where's the growth? Where's the adventure? So many discoveries in life are found by accident. So where is you're just locking people into this paranoid, follow blindly, and everyone else is, going to hell. I mean, I've heard this line since time immemorial. So it's mind control.
Mind control. Yeah, we're into mind control. Control for the good reason, Not in the, bad way mind control, but... well, I mean, anybody who wants to be successful, they have to focus. So, if you don't want to be successful in Krishna consciousness, okay, fine. Then whatever I said, throw it away. Throw it in the garbage. Doesn't make any sense. It's useless. But I'm trying to speak from the platform, at least, of being successful in Krishna consciousness, or at least heading down in a successful path. So this idea of focusing means it's important because we have to focus and refocus and keep on doing that, because for those of us devotees or aspiring devotees, we want to love Krishna, we want to develop a relationship with Krishna. So there's many things that are just not really conducive for it. So from that angle of vision, I'm speaking. So if somebody's not really into developing a relation with Krishna, okay, fine. Like, do whatever you want. Go, it is a big world, and there's so many things and people and places and this and that will completely, I could say, not really help us in Krishna consciousness. But for those of us who are trying to make advancement, that's what I'm referring to. And in relation to, there's so much out there, this and that. But the problem is that even though there's so much out there, then why are people on and on and on, over and over and over, becoming more and more dissatisfied? Like the loneliness epidemic, right? 30% of, I believe, no. And these 22% of, right, the millennials, which I didn't know millennials are from age 23 to 38. I guess I'm a millennial. I never knew that. But yeah. But there's a huge problem with loneliness. And so many of them, a large percentage of them think, oh, I have no friends. Or some of them think, I have no one to talk to. and I have no acquaintances, and it's just depressing. And they said that this thing that Bajrang sent out, this survey and polls and all this, it said that people are loneliness creates an urge to connect with people naturally. You're lonely, you want to connect with people, but it also creates this this tendency within oneself to be in fear of others. That, oh, hey, if I let anybody get close to me, they're going to hurt me. And that's so common nowadays. I mean, that's so common. If I let somebody into my life, let someone into my heart, they're going to hurt me. And therefore, there's a huge percentage, like millions, it says, of Americans who live alone. Not because they necessarily want to, but just, it's just that's going on in their minds. So whether it's loneliness or depression or this and that, there's plenty of opportunities for material enjoyment in this country. This is the country for material enjoyment. Southern California, we're practically speaking at one of the main places, epicenter. I mean, you have America, right? We're in America. And then in America, we're on the West Coast. And then part of the West Coast, we're in California. And in part of California, we're in SanDiego, in Southern California. And in Southern California, we're in SanDiego. And in SanDiego, we're not out in El Cajon, or Alpine or something. We're in Pacific Beach, right? And in Pacific Beach, this is like this is a place. But are people really that happy? I don't know. I don't think so.
They weren't last night over where I was.
So therefore, there's this interesting quote from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Bhagavad Gita commentary. He says that, I don't know the Sanskrit, but the English is that if you give a man all the women in the world, all the gold in the world, money, and all the grains in the world, still they won't be satisfied. So that's what he's saying. And you could say, oh, well, that's what he's saying. Well, okay, statistics are also showing that he gives people so much opportunity for material enjoyment, and yeah, still they're not satisfied. Why? Because we're the soul. We're the spirit soul. We're not these bodies, and therefore our happiness is on the spiritual platform. So, within any process, you go to college, you go here, you go there, there are certain things, there's do's and then there's don'ts, certain things that will help you, certain things that will harm you. So that's what we're talking about here. All right. All right, good. Does anyone have any other comments or questions? Yes.
Well, just that little adventure you had of getting off the path, that's a perfect metaphor. Because, yeah, something happened. The hat came down, and so that hat represents some material desire that you have to fulfill by getting off the path. So, who is it? Then everybody, would follow. In other words, you're following.
Get your friends, get your family.
And then you're all tangled up. You're in the bushes, and you can't get back on the path. You got somebody chastising you,
Material nature chastising.
Yeah. So it's a great metaphor.
Can I ask my other question? My other question is, because nobody else has one, you were saying that the no one's perfect, but we're following someone who's pure. Is the purity the measure alone? Because I'm thinking of three other measures that we use. You're saying about authority and we're following pure authority. Okay, well, is there some other way we measure if an authority is bona fide or a source of knowledge, guidance?
Yeah.
Or is it just, he seems pure to me, he's wearing white?
Yeah, so purity, I mean, people, there's, like within personality cults, which we're not into, by the way, followers worship a personality because they're very charismatic, right? Whatever, they have a nice, smile, or this or that or whatever it may be. And who knows? Maybe the person is teaching a bona fide thing, or maybe not. But whatever the case is, sometimes followers that get too much into the charisma of the personality without understanding the true essence of it, right? So yeah, we're not just into and following some because of their charisma, but also just their purity, because the purity is actually based on them following their spiritual master, who ultimately, Srila Prabhupada, is our founder Acharya, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Means that whoever his disciples or disciples of his disciples, on and on and on, they follow him because he's the Acharya, he's the founder Acharya. And aside from that, there's the three aspects of sadhus, saintly persons, guru, and shastra. So it's not just, you could say, purity, but the instructions of which every guru, every sadhu, they're all getting their instructions from the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavat Purana. And therefore this verse and purport saying that we have to throw out speculation. We have to throw out mental concoctions. We have to follow. And Srila Prabhupada would say he would say that's one of his main things that made him successful, is that I followed my guru. That's what Prabhupada said. I didn't concoct anything. So there's many personalities who, you could say, have some purity of heart, but really the purity of heart must go along with throwing out speculation, throwing out concoction, and just following Srila Prabhupada, following our acharyas. Or else it could be a little not good. So yeah. Does anybody have anything else like to add? No? Is that a happy enough note? Not really? What about Javita Prabhu? You have a happy note you want to end on? Maybe some shloka or something? Yes. 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 Detached from material attraction. Yes. So not Palgu Vairagya. Palgu Vairagya, that means that there's what is that river called? Yeah, Palgu River. So I heard that there's this river, and I heard Radhanath Swami say this. His Holiness Radhanath Swami say this one time. But the river, apparently there's a riverbed that's dried up. But if you just, poke your finger, if you just you dig down a little bit, then a bunch of water will be there. So that's an example of someone not having real detachment from this world. That, like they have that saying, right? You put a dog on a throne, and then you throw a bone, and it goes for the bones. That's the idea, that as soon as there's some temptation, there's allurement, then immediately. So the guru has detachment, means it doesn't matter what the allurement is, it doesn't matter what the temptation is, they transcended that. So, all right, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.